Chosen one, this is not a message. This is a divine alert, a holy unveiling. Heaven just whispered your name in front of a watching world, and God said, I'm about to raise them up. In front of everyone who doubted. Stop, breathe, listen. Do you hear that? That low rumble in the spiritual atmosphere? That's not thunder. That's the sound of a trumpet being lifted in the throne room. An angel just unrolled a scroll with your name, written in letters of fire. The Father leaned forward on his throne and said, It's time. There is a stage being built in the Spirit right now. Your name is on the headline, not tomorrow, not next year, now. This message isn't for the masses scrolling past. It's for the marked. The ones who've been buried so deep they forgot they were seeds. The ones who've been silent so long they thought God forgot their voice. You know who you are. Your spirit just sat up inside your chest. What you're about to experience isn't just teaching. This is prophecy meeting poetry, divine surgery with a soundtrack. Heaven is about to perform a miracle so loud, so undeniable, that even your doubters will have to close their mouths and open their eyes. You see, while you've been hidden thinking you were forgotten, God has been preparing something that will shock the very people who counted you out. Your elevation won't be whispered, it will be announced. Your breakthrough won't sneak in through the back door. It will march through the front gate with banners flying. The same voices that said you were finished, they're about to become your witnesses. To everyone who's been walking with this ministry through prayer, through faithfulness, through your generous hearts, you're not just supporting a message. You're partnering with heaven's agenda to reach someone sitting in their darkest hour, wondering if God still sees them. Chosen one. If you turn away now, you'll miss the one word heaven wrote specifically for your situation. The one revelation that could rewrite your entire story. Don't you dare scroll past this moment. Your breakthrough has been scheduled, your vindication has been signed, your elevation has been approved, and it's about to be announced. In front of everyone. Stay close. Don't move. Don't blink. Because what you're about to hear has the power to resurrect dreams you buried, restore faith you lost, and reveal a destiny you never dared believe was yours. This isn't just another video. This is your divine appointment, and heaven is about to hand you the microphone of your own miracle. Now breathe deep. Stay right here, because the show is about to begin. Have you ever wondered why God let them overlook you for so long? Why your gifts went unnoticed while lesser lights got the spotlight? Why your voice was silenced in rooms where empty words got standing ovations? Chosen one, listen to me carefully. What you experienced wasn't abandonment, it was assignment. What felt like rejection was actually divine protection. And what looked like the end of your story was just God turning the page. You've been carrying this weight, haven't you? The weight of being misunderstood, the exhaustion of explaining yourself to people who were never meant to understand your frequency. You've sat in meetings, in family gatherings, in church pews, feeling like a stranger in your own life. They called you too quiet, too intense, too different. But here's what they didn't know. You were the one carrying fire in a world built for ice. You were the one holding light in rooms that had grown comfortable with shadows. While they were building kingdoms on sand, God was teaching you to breathe underwater. The silence wasn't your punishment, it was your preparation. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. Jeremiah 1-5. Feel that? That's not just a Bible verse. That's your birth certificate from heaven. Your name was written in the Lamb's Book of Life before your mother ever felt you kick. You weren't an accident. You weren't a mistake. You were a strategic placement by the hand of the Almighty. But somewhere along the way, the enemy whispered a lie so convincing that you began to believe it. If you were really chosen, they would have chosen you by now. Stop. Breathe. Listen. What if the delay wasn't rejection but divine incubation? What if your silence was sacred, not accidental? What if God was hiding you, not from opportunity, but from the wrong opportunity? Think about it. Every prophet was hidden before they were revealed. Moses 40 years in the wilderness before he split the Red Sea. David tending sheep while his brothers got the recognition. until God called him from the pasture to the palace. Joseph thrown in a pit, sold into slavery, locked in prison, until one dream interpretation changed the trajectory of a nation. You were buried, chosen one, but not because you were dead. You were buried because you were seed. And seeds don't grow in the spotlight. They grow in the dark, in the pressure, in the places where no one can see the miracle happening beneath the surface. Close your eyes for a moment. Can you feel it? That stirring in your spirit. That's not anxiety. That's anticipation. That's the sound of your season shifting. That's the whisper of God saying, the incubation period is over. You thought it was your fault you weren't chosen, but you were being concealed by God, not rejected by man. For years you've watched others get the positions, the platforms, the recognition that you quietly knew was meant for you. You wondered what was wrong with you, why you couldn't seem to break through, why doors stayed closed while you knocked until your knuckles bled. But what if I told you that every no was protecting you from a yes that would have destroyed you? What if every closed door was God's way of saying, not yet. You're not ready for what I'm preparing to give you. What if every delay was divine strategy? See, the enemy had a plan. He wanted to promote you before you were prepared. He wanted to give you a platform before you had a message. He wanted to make you famous before you were faithful, because he knew that premature elevation leads to ultimate devastation. But God had a different plan. God said, I will not let them break my son. I will not let them break my daughter. I will hide them until they are strong enough to carry the weight of their calling. So he pulled you out of the race, not because you couldn't run, but because you were training for a different track. While they were competing for temporary crowns, God was forging an eternal one in the fires of your hidden years. Your silence wasn't punishment, it was preparation. Your isolation wasn't abandonment, it was incubation. Your invisibility wasn't rejection, it was divine protection. And now the season is shifting. Can you feel it in your bones? That restlessness, that sense that something is about to break open? That's not wishful thinking. That's prophecy being birthed in your spirit. God didn't deny you. He delayed you so they would all be in the room when he lifts you. Every person who overlooked you, every boss who passed you over, every family member who dismissed your dreams, every friend who stopped believing in your potential, they're going to have front row seats to your elevation. Not because you need their validation, but because God's about to use your breakthrough to shake their unbelief. Your promotion isn't just personal, it's prophetic. When God elevates you, he's not just changing your address. He's shifting the spiritual atmosphere of every space you've been planted in. Your rise is going to cause others to remember that the God of the impossible is still writing stories that make the evening news. You've been invisible for too long, hidden in plain sight, overlooked by people who couldn't see past their own limitations to recognize the divine deposit inside you. But heaven has been watching, heaven has been waiting, heaven has been preparing. The stage is being set, the lights are being adjusted, the curtain is about to rise. And when it does, when your moment finally comes, it won't be a gentle whisper, it will be a roar that shakes the foundations of every system that tried to keep you underground. Chosen one. If you feel like you've been invisible for too long, write it in the spirit right now. God saw me the whole time. Say it with your whole chest. Let it rumble up from the depths of your belly. Let it shake the dust off dreams you thought were dead. Let it resurrect hope you thought was buried. Because what's about to happen next isn't just elevation, it's vindication. It's the moment when everything hidden comes to light, when every seed you planted in secret bears fruit in public, when every tear you cried in private becomes a testimony that heals thousands. But before God releases you into the fullness of your destiny, there's something you need to understand about the nature of divine embarrassment. God is about to embarrass you with favor. Have you ever wondered why your pain had to be so public? Why your failures felt like they were displayed on a billboard for the whole world to see? Why every mistake, every stumble, every moment you fell apart seemed to happen right in front of the people whose opinions mattered most? What if I told you that wasn't accident, but arrangement? You see, chosen one, there's something heaven understands about embarrassment that earth never will. There's a sacred mathematics to shame, a divine geometry to disgrace. God doesn't just allow your humiliation. He orchestrates it, not to break you, but to position you. This elevation that's coming, it will be so loud, it will silence the mouths that tried to bury you. Think about it. You've been the topic of conversations you weren't invited to. Your name has been whispered in rooms you'll never enter. They've written you off, counted you out, measured your worth by your worst moments. You became their cautionary tale, their what not to do, their proof that some people just can't rise above their circumstances. But here's what they don't know. Here's what they couldn't see. You weren't falling. You were being planted. Every public failure was heaven preparing a public stage. Every moment they saw you stumble was God teaching you how to stand on higher ground. The very people who watched you break are about to watch you break through. But He knows the way that I take. When He has tested me, I will come forth as gold. Job knew this secret. The fire wasn't meant to consume him. It was meant to refine him. And you, beloved, you've been in the fire longer than most. Your story reads like a divine setup. Joseph in the dungeon, forgotten by the cupbearer, abandoned by his brothers, sold into slavery by his own blood, public humiliation at every turn. But watch this. The same Pharaoh who threw him into prison was the one who pulled him out to rule a nation. The embarrassment was the entrance exam. Mordecai, sitting at the king's gate, overlooked and underestimated while Haman built gallows 50 feet high, specifically designed for his destruction. But the same king who almost signed his death warrant ended up clothing him in royal robes. The same enemy who planned his funeral ended up leading his parade. The setup was the setup for the turnaround. Are you starting to see the pattern? The very stage they mocked you on will be the altar God promotes you from. Every snicker was a prophecy. Every whisper was a promise. Every time they said they'll never amount to anything, they were unknowingly announcing your resurrection. You think your shame was random? You think your struggles were senseless? You think your pain was pointless? Listen carefully. What looked like rejection was rehearsal. What felt like exile was elevation in hiding. God has been directing a movie, and you thought you were watching a tragedy. But heaven calls it a comeback story. You thought you were the victim, but you're actually the hero who just hasn't reached the plot twist yet. The divine embarrassment is coming, not shame favor, so overwhelming it embarrasses those who counted you out. Close your eyes for a moment. Can you feel it building? That rumble in your spirit, that restlessness in your bones. That's not anxiety, that's anticipation. Heaven is getting ready to flip the script so dramatically that even you won't recognize your own story. Your vindication won't whisper, it will announce itself. The same people who gossiped about your failures will struggle to find words for your favor. The same voices that said you were finished will be forced to admit they were wrong. The same crowd that enjoyed your downfall will become unwilling witnesses to your uprising. This isn't revenge, this is revelation. God isn't trying to hurt them, He's trying to heal the narrative they've been believing about you. See, when God elevates you in front of everyone who doubted you, He's not just blessing you, He's blessing them with the privilege of watching a miracle in real time. He's giving them front row seats to witness what happens when heaven decides to rewrite someone's story. Your embarrassment was never about punishment. It was about positioning. God needed you low so your rise would be undeniable. He needed you hidden so your revelation would be unmistakable. He needed you broken so your restoration would be unquestionable. The shame you carry isn't a stain, it's a stage. And God is about to use it as a platform to display His power. But I need you to understand something. This coming elevation will require you to release your attachment to their approval. You can't rise into God's opinion of you while you're still chained to theirs. The very people who rejected you might try to claim you when God promotes you. Don't let their sudden change of heart change your focus. This isn't about proving them wrong. This is about proving God right. The fire in your bones isn't anger, it's anticipation. Your spirit knows something your mind hasn't caught up to yet. Your breakthrough is already in motion. Your vindication is already in process. Your elevation is already approved. They measured you by your mistakes, but God measures you by your potential. They defined you by your failures, but heaven defines you by your future. They saw your collapse, but God sees your comeback, and it's coming fast. Chosen one, if you feel that fire stirring in your chest right now, if something deep inside you just said yes to this word, declare it out loud. He's not done. He's just getting loud. Say it again. He's not done. He's just getting loud. Because the same God who allowed your private pain is about to announce your public promotion. And when he does, even you will be shocked by how dramatically he can rewrite the ending to a story everyone thought was over. But before this sacred embarrassment unfolds, there's something you need to understand about the season you've been walking through. Have you ever wondered why you couldn't move forward when everyone else seemed to be racing past you? Have you questioned why your body felt like it was carrying invisible chains? Have you asked yourself why God seemed silent when you needed his voice the most? Listen to me, chosen one. You were never stuck. You were being kept. I know you've felt it. That bone-deep exhaustion that coffee couldn't cure. That spiritual fatigue that made you question if you were lazy, broken, or simply forgotten by heaven. You've watched others climb mountains while you could barely climb out of bed. You've seen doors open for them while yours seemed welded shut. But what if I told you that your stillness wasn't stagnation? What if your pause wasn't punishment? You were the one who carried fire in a world built for ice. You were the dreamer in a generation that worshipped logic. You were the believer when everyone else bowed to doubt. And that flame, that beautiful, dangerous flame inside you, it was burning you from the inside out. So God did what any loving father would do. He pulled you off the battlefield. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. That's Jeremiah 1-5. But here's what the church didn't tell you. Sometimes being set apart means being set aside. Sometimes being chosen means being concealed. Your fatigue wasn't laziness. It was divine lockdown, holy surgery in your soul. While you thought you were sleeping in depression, your nervous system was being realigned by heaven. While you felt like you were drowning in darkness, God was performing cellular reconstruction. Your DNA was being rewritten. Your spiritual frequency was being recalibrated. You see, science tells us that when the body undergoes extreme stress, it activates something called the parasympathetic nervous system, a built-in shutdown mechanism designed to protect and repair. But what science can't measure is when God activates the same system in your spirit. You weren't having a breakdown. You were having a breakthrough that looked like a breakdown. Every sleepless night, God was downloading new dreams into your subconscious. Every tear you cried in the dark, heaven was collecting them in bottles, preparing to turn them into rivers of blessing. Every moment you felt like giving up, the Almighty was giving you something you didn't even know you needed. Strength, real strength, not the kind that comes from gritting your teeth and pushing through, the kind that comes from learning how to rest in the storm. But here's where it gets beautiful, beloved. Here's where the plot twist reveals itself. Close your eyes for a moment. Can you feel it? That stirring in your chest? That's not anxiety, that's anticipation. Your spirit recognizes what your mind hasn't figured out yet. The quarantine is almost over. God pulled you off the battlefield so he could rewire your weapons. Think about it. A master swordsmith doesn't just sharpen a blade, he melts it down completely, removes every impurity, and rebuilds it stronger than before. That's what's been happening to you. You thought you were being destroyed, but you were being reconstructed. Every relationship that ended, God was removing what would have limited your next level. Every door that closed, heaven was protecting you from paths that would have led to dead ends. Every dream that seemed to die, the Father was planting it deeper, where the roots could grow stronger. You weren't being rejected, you were being perfected. The exhaustion you've been carrying isn't weakness, it's the weight of transformation. When a caterpillar enters the cocoon, it doesn't just grow wings. Its entire cellular structure dissolves and rebuilds itself from the inside out. Scientists call it histolysis, the breaking down of old tissue to make way for the new. That's what's been happening in your spirit. The old you, the one who believed the lies, who accepted scraps, who settled for survival, that version had to die so the real you could emerge. And oh, beloved, the real you is magnificent. You've been wondering why you feel so different lately, why old habits don't satisfy you anymore, why toxic relationships suddenly feel suffocating, why you can't tolerate the same mediocrity that used to feel normal. It's because you're not the same person who entered this season. The DNA of your destiny has been activated. But here's the truth that will set you free. Your isolation wasn't abandonment, it was preparation. Your silence wasn't God ignoring you. It was God protecting you from voices that would have confused your transformation. You needed to be alone with Him, not because He was punishing you, but because He was purifying you. Not because you weren't worthy of community, but because the next level of your life required a different frequency, and you couldn't tune into it while surrounded by the static of people who only knew the old you. God has been performing surgery on your soul. And surgery requires sedation. Surgery requires stillness. Surgery requires trust that the physician knows exactly what he's removing and exactly what he's restoring. The sleepless nights, He was rewiring your thought patterns. The emotional numbness, He was protecting your heart while He transplanted new dreams into it. The social withdrawal, He was creating space for the new relationships that are coming. You thought you were falling apart, but you were falling together. Every piece of your life that seemed scattered was actually being strategically repositioned. God wasn't moving you backward, He was setting you up for a quantum leap forward. And now you're almost ready. Can you feel it? That quickening in your spirit, that sense that something is about to shift. Your internal alarm clock is going off because your season of hiding is coming to an end. The cocoon is starting to crack. If you've been exhausted, if you've been isolated, if you've been questioning everything you thought you knew about yourself, whisper to your soul right now, I'm not tired. I'm being transformed. Say it again. Let it sink into your bones. I'm not tired. I'm being transformed. Because, beloved, the very thing that almost broke you is about to become the foundation of your breakthrough. The pain that drove you into hiding is about to become the power that propels you into purpose. You weren't stuck in that dark place. You were planted there, and something beautiful is about to bloom. But before the full revelation comes, before the curtain is pulled back on what God has been building in the secret place, there's one more thing you need to understand about the sacred strategy behind your silence. Have you ever wondered why your voice disappeared right when you needed it most? Why your prayers felt like they were bouncing off the ceiling? Why heaven seemed to go silent just when the storm got loudest? What if I told you that silence wasn't punishment? It was preparation. Chosen one, listen to me. You didn't miss your moment. Your moment was being matured. While you were sitting in what felt like spiritual solitary confinement, God was building a thunderstorm inside your bones. While you stood still thinking you were stuck, heaven was rewiring your entire operating system. You see, there's a difference between being silenced by the world and being quieted by God. The world silences you to diminish you. God quiets you to develop you. Think about it. Every great symphony begins with silence. Every masterpiece starts with a blank canvas. Every resurrection requires a tomb. Your quiet season, that wasn't abandonment, that was incubation. You've been carrying this weight, haven't you? This feeling that you should be further along by now, that your peers passed you by while you were stuck in neutral, that God forgot your address, lost your phone number, misplaced your file. But what if, and stay with me here, what if your delay was divine strategy? Scripture says in Isaiah 30-15, in quietness and trust is your strength, not in noise, not in hustle, not in proving yourself to a world that wouldn't recognize gold if it was handed to them on a silver platter. In quietness, in trust, in the sacred space where only you and heaven could meet. While they were building platforms, you were building character. While they were chasing applause, you were learning heaven's language in the dark. While they were posting their highlight reels, you were having your breakthrough moments in the secret place where only God could witness. You thought you were being benched, but you were being trained for the championship. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine a master craftsman working on his finest piece. He doesn't rush. He doesn't perform for an audience. He works in silence, in solitude, with precision that can't be hurried. Every strike of the hammer is intentional. Every moment of stillness is sacred. That's what God was doing with you. Your silence wasn't empty space. It was sacred space. Every moment you thought nothing was happening, everything was happening. Your spiritual DNA was being rewritten. Your emotional immune system was being strengthened. Your prophetic frequency was being fine-tuned. Close your eyes for a moment. Can you feel it? That low hum in your spirit. That's not emptiness. That's electricity. That's the sound of heaven's power plant warming up, getting ready to send voltage through the very voice they tried to silence. You've been wondering when God would use you, but He's been using this entire season to prepare you for a level of assignment that would have crushed the old you. The prophet Habakkuk cried out, "How long, O Lord?" And God's response wasn't an apology, it was a promise. Write the vision and make it plain, for the vision is yet for an appointed time. Appointed, not random, not forgotten. Appointed. Your quiet season had an appointment with your calling. Your silence had a date with your sound. Your hiddenness had a rendezvous with your revelation. Think about Joseph. 13 years from the pit to the palace. 13 years of silence, slavery, and prison. But those weren't wasted years. Those were preparation years. When Pharaoh finally called his name, Joseph didn't just interpret dreams, he saved nations. Your silence wasn't punishment. It was preparation for a sound that will save someone's life. David spent years in caves before he ever sat on a throne. Jesus spent 30 years in obscurity before 3 years of ministry. Even the Apostle Paul disappeared into Arabia for 3 years after his conversion before he ever preached his first sermon. God has a pattern. He hides before he reveals. He conceals before he elevates. He silences before he amplifies. Your quiet season was God's loudest work. While you couldn't hear heaven's voice, heaven was downloading wisdom into your spirit. While you felt disconnected, you were actually being rewired for a deeper connection. While you thought you were going backward, you were being catapulted forward. Every tear you cried in secret became liquid prayer. Every night you lay awake questioning became a conversation with eternity. Every moment you felt forgotten became a moment you were being formed. You weren't abandoned. You were being authored. God didn't give you silence to shame you. He gave you silence to strengthen you. He didn't quiet your voice to punish you. He muted the noise so you could hear the frequency of your true assignment. The enemy wanted your silence to become permanent. But God used your silence to make you powerful. Now I need you to understand something. This quiet season is coming to an end. The training wheels are about to come off. The incubation period is nearly over. Heaven is about to crack open your shell and reveal what's been growing in the dark. Your voice is about to return. But it won't sound like it used to. It will carry the weight of the wilderness. It will echo with the authority of someone who's been with God behind closed doors. It will vibrate with the frequency of heaven because that's where you've been living while the world thought you disappeared. They're about to discover that you weren't gone. You were being prepared. You weren't missing. You were being made ready. You weren't silent by accident. You were silent by assignment. And when you open your mouth again, when heaven gives you the green light to speak, your words won't just be heard. They'll be felt. They won't just inform. They'll transform. They won't just reach ears. They'll reach the depths of souls that have been waiting for someone to speak their language. The language of the secret place. The language of sacred silence. The language of those who've been with God when no one was watching. Chosen one, I need you to say something out loud right now. Don't just think it. Speak it into the atmosphere. Declare it to your own ears. My silence was sacred. Say it again. My silence was sacred. One more time, with authority. My silence was sacred. Because what's about to come out of your mouth next will prove that every moment of quietness was worth it. Every season of silence was strategic. Every period of preparation was purposeful. Your quiet season was God's loudest work. And now, the world is about to hear the sound of that work. But there's something else you need to know before heaven opens your mouth again. Something about the people who watched you disappear and what they're about to witness when you return. Have you ever wondered why your breakthrough keeps feeling so close, yet so impossible to grasp? Why does it seem like everyone else gets their moment in the spotlight while you remain hidden in the shadows, watching from the sidelines of your own life? What if I told you that your invisibility wasn't abandonment, but preparation for the most public vindication heaven has ever orchestrated? Listen to me, chosen one. You've been walking through a season where your pain felt private, your struggles felt silent, and your victories felt invisible. You carried fire in a world built for ice. You spoke truth in rooms that worshipped lies. You held faith while others held grudges. And they called you crazy for it. They whispered about your quiet seasons. They questioned your sudden withdrawals. They interpreted your holy rest as giving up, your sacred pause as surrender. But what they couldn't see, what they were never meant to see, was heaven's backstage preparation. You were the one praying in the corner while they partied in the center. You were the one fasting while they feasted on gossip. You were the one believing when belief felt like bleeding. But now, this is what the Lord says, He who created you, He who formed you. Do not fear, for I have redeemed you. I have summoned you by name. You are mine. Isaiah 43:1. Your name, called, summoned, claimed, not whispered, summoned. What if your delay wasn't rejection but divine incubation? What if your silence was sacred strategy, not spiritual stagnation? What if God pulled you out of the spotlight not to punish you, but to prepare you for a stage so magnificent that when you finally step onto it, even heaven will applaud? The miracle that's coming for you won't tiptoe into your life. It won't sneak through the back door or arrive with an apology for being late. This breakthrough is going to announce itself like thunder after lightning, impossible to ignore, undeniable to witness. You won't walk into your blessing, beloved. You'll be revealed like a prophecy coming to pass. Picture this. Every place they gossiped about you will become a place they glorify God through you. Every mouth that mocked your journey will be filled with awe at your arrival. Every voice that counted you out will become a witness to your elevation. Then our mouth was filled with laughter and our tongue with singing. Then they said among the nations, the Lord has done great things for them. Psalm 126:2. They said among the nations, not whispered in corners, declared among nations. Close your eyes for a moment. Can you feel it? That shift in the spiritual atmosphere around you. That's not anxiety, that's anticipation, that's not fear. That's the sound of heaven's machinery moving on your behalf. Your story is about to flip so dramatically that people will study the before and after like a miracle case study. The very people who buried your reputation will witness your resurrection. The same platforms that ignored your voice will amplify your testimony. What the devil meant to bury you under your failures, your losses, your silent seasons of suffering, God is about to use as the foundation to crown you with. Every tear you cried in secret is about to become a river of public blessing. Every prayer you whispered in desperation is about to be answered with a megaphone. This isn't just restoration, chosen one. This is reversal. Divine, undeniable, spectacular reversal. The elevation coming for you won't be subtle. It won't be something you have to explain or defend. When God moves, when heaven shifts, when your moment arrives, it will be so obvious, so powerful, so divinely orchestrated that even your enemies will have to acknowledge the hand of the Almighty. Your breakthrough won't knock politely. It will kick down doors. It won't ask permission. It will demand attention. It won't whisper your name. It will roar your calling across every space that tried to silence you. The same job that overlooked you will offer you the position they said you weren't qualified for. The same people who gossiped about your struggles will celebrate your success. The same places that made you feel small will become stages for your significance. This next breakthrough will not whisper. It will roar. And when it does, when the dust settles and the smoke clears, When your elevation becomes undeniable and your vindication becomes visible, you'll understand why God made you wait. You'll see why He kept you hidden. You'll know why your breakthrough had to be this big, this bold, this impossible to ignore. Because some testimonies are too powerful for private moments. Some miracles are too magnificent for small audiences. Some elevations are too epic for quiet corners. Your story was always meant to be told on the world's stage. Chosen one, if you're ready to be elevated publicly, if you're prepared for a breakthrough that refuses to hide, if you're willing to let God make your miracle as loud as your misery once was, say it to the Spirit right now. Let it be loud. Let it be God. Because the curtain is rising, beloved. The spotlight is shifting, and heaven is about to call your name in front of everyone who said it would never happen. But before God releases you into your public vindication, there's one more sacred secret you need to understand about the divine timing of this elevation. Have you ever felt like your prayers bounced off the ceiling, like your tears fell into a void that swallowed sound, like the very heavens had gone silent, just for you? What if I told you that silence wasn't abandonment? What if that emptiness wasn't rejection? What if God wasn't ignoring your cries but orchestrating your comeback? Chosen one, you've been living in a drought so long you forgot what rain feels like. You've been walking through a desert of delay, thinking the oasis was a mirage. But your spiritual GPS wasn't broken. You weren't lost. You were being positioned. Every door that slammed shut, every opportunity that slipped through your fingers, every person who walked away when you needed them most, that wasn't your destiny being denied. That was God clearing the stage for something so spectacular, so undeniable, that when it hits the whole world will know it came from heaven. You were the one who carried fire in a world built for ice, the one who spoke truth to people addicted to lies, the one who loved deeper while others loved safer. And they called you intense. They called you too much. They called you broken. But God calls you chosen. Fear not, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name. You are mine. The prophet Isaiah heard it, and now you're hearing it. Your name echoing in the throne room. Your story being rewritten in real time. What's about to hit you can't be contained. This isn't just enough. This is more than you've dared to pray for. More than you've whispered in your darkest 3 a.m. moments. More than you've written in journals you thought no one would ever read. The windows of heaven aren't just cracking open, they're being unlatched, not with a trickle, but with a flood. Malachi saw it. I will open the windows of heaven and pour out such a blessing that there will not be room enough to receive it. Room enough? Chosen one. You're about to discover what it feels like when God's favor overflows the containers of your imagination. You'll go from dry bones to drenched garments without a warning. That bank account that's been on life support, about to be resuscitated by divine deposit. Those relationships that felt like graveyards, about to bloom with resurrection power. That health that's been failing, about to be renewed like the eagles. That dream that flatlined in the emergency room of disappointment, about to walk out of the tomb. Can you feel it? That stirring in your spirit. That's not anxiety, that's anticipation. Heaven is pregnant with your breakthrough, and the labor pains have started. Every closed door was God saying, "Not that one, I've got something better." Every rejection was heaven redirecting you towards something your natural mind couldn't have conceived. Every loss was God making space for overflow. Close your eyes. Feel that? That whisper in your chest? That's God. And He's still calling you by name. He never stopped, even when you couldn't hear Him through your pain. Even when your faith felt thinner than tissue paper. Even when you wondered if you'd imagined His voice altogether. He was there. In the silence, in the waiting, in the breaking. Building something so beautiful, so powerful, so undeniably divine, that when it manifests you won't even have language for it, just worship. The enemy thought he buried you. But seeds don't stay underground forever. What looked like your grave was actually your garden. What felt like your ending was actually your beginning. What appeared to be your defeat was God positioning you for your most stunning victory. This reversal won't whisper. It will roar. It will be so loud that the people who forgot your name will suddenly remember your number, so bright that those who said you were finished will have to put on sunglasses to look at your future. So undeniable that even your enemies will have to admit God's hand is on that one. Your healing won't be gradual. It will be instant. Your provision won't trickle in. It will tsunami. Your vindication won't come quietly. It will arrive with fanfare that makes the angels applaud. This isn't about you getting even. This is about God getting glory. This isn't revenge. This is resurrection. This isn't payback. This is prophecy fulfilled. When this wave comes, and it's coming, you won't be able to hide it. You won't be able to downplay it. You won't be able to make yourself small anymore. Because what God is about to do in your life will be so obviously supernatural that trying to take credit would be like trying to claim you painted the sunrise. The favor that's about to hit you will rewrite every narrative they wrote about your life. The blessing that's headed your way will make your testimony sound like fiction. The breakthrough that's barreling toward you will turn your scars into stars. You've been in preparation, not punishment. You've been in incubation, not isolation. You've been in divine delay, not divine denial. And now? Now it's time. Time for the reversal. Time for the reveal. Time for the resurrection of dreams they declared dead. Time for the restoration of what they said was lost forever. Time for the return of what the enemy stole in the darkness. This overflow isn't just for you, it's through you. Because when God elevates his chosen ones, it's never just about them. It's about the testimony. It's about the witness. It's about the world seeing what happens when heaven intervenes in human history. You're not just receiving a blessing, you're becoming one. You're not just getting a miracle, you're becoming one. You're not just experiencing overflow, you're becoming a channel for it. When this wave hits, you won't even have words. Just tears, just laughter, just worship, just awe at a God who never forgot your address, never lost your file, never gave up on your story. Chosen one, the drought is over, the famine is finished, the delay has expired. And what's about to pour out of heaven with your name on it can't be contained. If you're ready for overflow, if you're tired of drought, if you're done with delay, say it back to God right now. I won't resist the rain, because, beloved, the storm clouds of blessing are gathering, and they're heading straight for you. Did you think this was about you finally getting comfortable? Did you believe God was elevating you so you could rest in luxury while the world burns around you? Have you been waiting for a blessing that would let you disappear into peace while your assignment waits in the shadows? Chosen one, I need you to hear this with every fiber of your being. What's coming isn't a reward for your suffering, it's a weapon forged from it. You see, you've been thinking like someone who deserves comfort after all you've endured. The betrayals that left scars on your trust, the losses that carved hollows in your chest, the nights you cried until your tears ran dry, wondering if God had forgotten your name. You've been carrying this weight, thinking, surely now, surely after all this, I've earned my rest. But what if I told you that every wound was a doorway, every scar was a signature, every tear was God's way of softening the clay before he shaped you into something the world has never seen? You were never meant to be comfortable, beloved. You were meant to be called. Listen to the words of the prophet Isaiah. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations. Do you hear that? Before your first breath, before your first heartbreak, before your first failure, you were already appointed, not for ease, for assignment. You've been thinking small, chosen one. You've been praying for God to bless your little corner when he's been preparing you to shift atmospheres. You've been asking him to heal your hurt when he's been weaponizing your wounds to heal nations. That isolation you felt, that wasn't abandonment, that was preparation. God pulled you away from the crowd because crowds follow trends. But you were being trained to set them. That rejection you faced, that wasn't punishment, that was purification. Every door that slammed shut was God's way of saying, not that one, you're built for bigger. Every person who walked away, they weren't your loss, they were your liberation. because the calling on your life requires a weight that shallow relationships cannot bear. Close your eyes for a moment. Can you feel it stirring? That restlessness in your spirit that comfort could never satisfy. That's not anxiety, beloved. That's assignment calling your name. You see, the enemy has been trying to convince you that elevation means escape, that breakthrough means you get to break away. But God doesn't elevate you to remove you from the battle. He elevates you to give you a better view of the battlefield. You are not being lifted so you can look down on others. You are being lifted so others can look up and see what's possible when God gets his hands on a surrendered life. This next level you're stepping into, it's not going to be quieter, it's going to be louder. Your light isn't going to be hidden anymore. It's going to be displayed. And with that display comes a target on your back from every force of darkness that wants to keep this world in shadows. But here's what the enemy didn't calculate. Your suffering wasn't just pain, it was training. Every assault on your peace was boot camp for spiritual warfare. Every attack on your faith was God teaching you how to stand when the storms get stronger. You think you've been through hell. You have, but you didn't go through it to stay there. You went through it to learn its language so you could go back and lead others out. The prophet Ezekiel saw a valley of dry bones, and God asked him, "Can these bones live?" That's what God is asking about the broken places in this world. And your assignment, chosen one, is to prophesy life into dead places, to speak resurrection into situations that others have already buried. You are not being elevated for applause. You are being elevated for alignment. Alignment with a purpose so much bigger than your personal comfort that it will take everything you learned in the dark to carry it in the light. God didn't preserve you through all those trials so you could preserve yourself. He preserved you so you could become preservation for others. You're not just being lifted, beloved. You're being launched. Like an arrow that's been pulled back in the bow, the further back it goes, the further forward it flies. Every setback you survived was God pulling you back for greater impact. And I need you to understand something that will shake you to your core. This next level will be seen. Your breakthrough won't be private. Your healing won't be hidden. Your elevation won't be silent. The same people who watched you suffer will watch you soar. The same voices that declared you finished will have to declare you favored. The same eyes that saw you fall will see you rise. But here's the weight of it. With that visibility comes responsibility. You will no longer have the luxury of anonymity. Your choices will echo in lives you'll never meet. Your words will carry the weight of eternity. Your very presence will prophesy possibilities to people who have forgotten how to hope. The comfort you've been craving, it's not coming, chosen one. Something better is coming. Purpose, assignment, a reason to wake up that's bigger than your pain. A calling that transforms your scars into signs and your mess into your message. He didn't raise you to be noticed. He raised you to be needed. Needed by the broken-hearted who need to see that hearts can be whole again. Needed by the lost who need to see that wandering can lead to destiny. Needed by the silent who need to see that voices can be restored. Needed by the forgotten who need to see that God never stops remembering. You are not ascending to comfort, beloved. You are ascending to calling. And that calling is going to require every ounce of strength that suffering gave you, every drop of wisdom that waiting taught you, and every flame of fire that trials lit in your bones. So stop asking God to make it easy. Start asking Him to make you equal to the assignment. Stop praying for the storm to stop. Start praying for the strength to command it. Stop begging for rest. Start believing for readiness. Because what He's calling you to isn't going to let you sleep at night, not because it's stressful, but because it's so exciting you won't want to close your eyes and miss a moment of watching Him move through your surrendered life. Chosen one, if you can feel that fire starting to burn in your chest, if you can sense that shift in your spirit, if something in you is saying, yes, even while your flesh is saying, but what about my comfort? Then say it. Say it to the atmosphere. Say it to the angels. Say it to the assignment that's been waiting for you to stop running from it. God, use my rise for your glory. Use my platform for your purpose. Use my elevation for your agenda. I am not my own. I was bought with a price, And whatever you've called me to, I'm ready to carry it. Because, beloved, your elevation is not your destination, it's your launching pad. And the world is waiting to see what God can do with someone who finally said yes to the calling that's been chasing them through every valley, every storm, and every season of silence. The stage is set, the lights are coming up, and your entrance, it's about to change everything. You'll look in the mirror and see the prophecy. When was the last time you looked in a mirror and saw hope? When did your reflection stop telling you lies about who you really are? Have you been avoiding mirrors because they remind you of everything you think you've lost? Listen to me, chosen one. That face staring back at you, tired, weathered, marked by seasons of silence, it's about to tell a different story. You've been seeing yourself through the lens of abandonment, through the filter of forgotten dreams and delayed promises. But heaven has been developing a different photograph this entire time, and it's about to be revealed. Your face will change, not just from age, but from radiance. I'm not talking about some superficial makeover or cosmetic miracle. I'm speaking of something deeper, something cellular, something written in the very DNA of your destiny. You see, while you've been looking in mirrors and seeing defeat, God has been looking at you and seeing victory. While you've been seeing wrinkles of worry, He's been seeing lines of wisdom. While you've been seeing the marks of suffering, He's been seeing the scars of a survivor. You're not aging, you're ascending. Every line on your face is a testimony. Every gray hair is a crown of glory earned through battles fought in secret. Every mark of time is evidence that you've endured what was meant to destroy you. The mirror has been lying to you, but that's about to change. Isaiah 61:3 says, "He will give you beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness." This isn't poetry, this is prophecy, and it's about to manifest in the most visible way possible in your very countenance. Your skin will glow with obedience. Your eyes will reflect what heaven sees. I know this sounds impossible. You've been staring at the same face for decades, watching it change with time, with stress, with heartbreak. But what if I told you that every tear you've cried in secret has been collected by heaven? What if every sleepless night spent calling out to God has been recorded as worship? Your body is about to respond to something beyond biology. It's about to respond to divine alignment. When you finally surrender to who God says you are, when you stop fighting your calling and start walking in it, something shifts in your cellular structure. Something changes in your spiritual metabolism. The stress lines begin to soften, not because you're using expensive creams, but because you're finally using faith. The heaviness in your shoulders lifts, not because life gets easier, but because you remember who's carrying you. Your eyes, those windows that have seen too much pain, they're about to reflect something else. They're about to mirror the glory that's been residing in your spirit all along. Close your eyes for a moment. Can you feel it? That stirring in your bones? That's not restlessness, that's resurrection. The old you is dying. The real you is being born. Even your reflection will stop lying. You'll see yourself as God saw you the whole time. The mirror that once reminded you of everything you've lost will become a testimony of everything you've gained. The glass that once reflected your doubts will begin to reflect your destiny. This transformation isn't going to be subtle. It's not going to be something only you notice. When God begins to reveal His glory through your countenance, it becomes undeniable. People will ask you what's different. They'll want to know what you're doing, what you're taking, where you've been. And you'll tell them the truth. You've been with God. You've been in the presence of the one who makes all things new. Your transformation won't be cosmetic. It'll be cosmic. This isn't about looking younger, though your spirit will feel ageless. This isn't about appearing more beautiful, though His glory will radiate through you. This is about becoming a living, breathing testament to the power of divine restoration. Every time someone looks at you, they'll see evidence that God still moves. Every time you catch your reflection, you'll remember that miracles aren't just possible, they're personal. The face that carried shame will carry honor. The eyes that held tears will hold fire. The mouth that whispered doubts will declare victory. You think you're looking at a mirror, but you're actually looking at a portal, a window between what was and what's coming. a glimpse of the glory that's been waiting to be unveiled. The old you, the hidden you, the doubting you, the abandoned you, is dissolving like mist in the morning sun, and emerging from that mist is the real you, the chosen you, the you that heaven has been seeing all along. Chosen one, look again, look longer, look deeper. That reflection isn't showing you who you were, it's prophesying who you're becoming. The mirror of glory doesn't lie. It reveals, it doesn't diminish, it magnifies. It doesn't mock, it proclaims. And what it's proclaiming over your life right now is this: the season of hiding is over. The time of revealing has begun. Your face will be the first place the world sees God's vindication of your life. Your countenance will be the initial evidence of His favor. Your very presence will prophesy before you even speak a word. Stand up, walk to the nearest mirror, look into your own eyes, and say these words out loud. Old you is gone, real you is here. God's glory is rising through me. Because what you're about to see isn't just reflection, it's resurrection. And the world is about to witness the unveiling of someone who was never truly hidden, just held until the perfect moment. That moment is now. The mirror of glory is calling your name. Do you remember what it felt like to be invisible? To walk into rooms where conversations stopped, not because you mattered, but because you didn't. Do you remember the weight of being overlooked, passed over, forgotten, even by people who claimed to love you? You were in the shadows, hidden, buried beneath other people's noise, other people's glory, other people's moment. But shadows aren't punishment, beloved. They're preparation. The lights are shifting now. Can you feel it? The spiritual atmosphere is changing. The curtain that concealed you is lifting, inch by inch, breath by breath. And behind that curtain stands the God who never forgot your name. You thought you were in the dark because you were rejected, but you were in the dark because you were being developed. Like film in a dark room, like wine in a cellar, like diamonds under pressure. God doesn't hide what He's ashamed of. He hides what He's about to reveal. But now, this is what the Lord says: He who created you, He who formed you. Do not fear, for I have redeemed you. I have summoned you by name. You are mine. Isaiah 43:1, summoned by name. Not summoned by accident, not summoned by default. Summoned by divine intention. Your name has been on heaven's lips this whole time. While you thought you were forgotten, God was saying, not yet. They're not ready to see what I'm about to do through this one. Listen to me, chosen one. You will not have to beg for your breakthrough. You will not have to perform for your promotion. You will not have to chase down your calling or convince anyone of your worth. God is about to call your name in front of everyone who counted you out. Joseph didn't campaign for Pharaoh's attention. One dream interpretation, and he went from prisoner to prime minister in a single day. David didn't lobby for the throne. One smooth stone, and the shepherd boy became the giant killer the kingdom couldn't ignore. Mordecai didn't petition for position. One act of loyalty, and the man who walked in sackcloth was clothed in royal robes. Hannah didn't shout to be heard. She whispered in the temple, and God opened her womb to birth a prophet. Do you see the pattern? Divine elevation never requires human advertisement. What if your silence wasn't rejection, but sacred incubation? What if your delay wasn't denial, but divine timing? What if every closed door was God's way of saving you from settling for less than His best? The enemy tried to bury you, but he made one crucial mistake. He buried you where seeds belong. And now, after seasons of darkness, after storms of loneliness, after winters that felt eternal, something is stirring in the soil of your spirit. Close your eyes. Can you feel it? That trembling in your chest, that quickening in your soul. That's not anxiety, beloved. That's anticipation. Heaven is getting ready to make an announcement. Your story is about to preach sermons you never wrote. Your presence is about to prophesy promises you never spoke. Your elevation is about to evangelize to hearts you've never met. Because when God moves on behalf of the forgotten, the whole world remembers that He's still in the miracle business. You think this moment came out of nowhere, but baby, this has been scheduled since before you took your first breath. Your coronation wasn't a last-minute decision. It was written in the stars before time began. God didn't just save a place for you at the table. He saved the spotlight. He saved the stage. He saved the microphone. He's been clearing the room of distractions, removing the competition, silencing the noise, so that when your moment comes, there will be no question about whose hand is moving. Remember when you used to pray, "God, just let someone see me"? He heard that prayer. But his answer was bigger than your request. He didn't just arrange for someone to see you. He arranged for everyone to see him through you. The same people who whispered about your struggles will testify about your strength. The same voices that questioned your calling will quote your victory. The same mouths that mocked your faith will confess that surely the Lord was with you. This isn't just vindication, chosen one. This is revelation. You're not just being elevated, you're being unveiled. The world is about to see what heaven has been protecting, preparing, perfecting in the secret place. Your promotion won't be quiet. Your breakthrough won't be hidden. Your miracle won't be private. When God decides to move, he moves with purpose, with power, with the kind of undeniable demonstration that leaves no room for doubt. You've been asking, when will it be my turn? Heaven's answer echoes through eternity. Your turn isn't coming. Your turn is here. The stage has been set. The lights have been adjusted. The audience has been assembled. Even your enemies have been positioned as witnesses to what God is about to do. This is your coronation moment. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel more ready, more worthy, more prepared. Right now, in this very breath, in this sacred second, heaven is saying, "Rise up, beloved. Your time of hiding is over." Your elevation is not a surprise to heaven. It's been scheduled, sealed, sanctified. The angels have been rehearsing for this moment. The Father has been smiling in anticipation. The Spirit has been preparing the atmosphere. Chosen one, if every word of this has felt like heaven speaking directly to your spirit, if this moment feels like divine confirmation wrapped in human language, if you believe that this message found you because your breakthrough is about to find you, then declare it boldly, not with your mind, but with your spirit, not because you feel it, but because you believe it. Lift your voice to the one who lifted you. God, I'm ready to be revealed. Say it again, with the authority of someone who knows they're about to step out of the shadows and into the light. God, I'm ready to be revealed. Because, beloved, the spotlight isn't just warming up, it's already shining. And you are standing at the edge of your greatest moment. The curtain is lifting. The show is about to begin. And you are both the star and the testimony of what happens when heaven decides it's time to reveal what it's been concealing. Your moment has arrived. Step into it. God elevated you, but didn't let you speak yet. Have you ever felt the weight of a crown you can't see? Have you sensed the shift in how people look at you, but you still can't find your voice? Do you feel like you're walking in two worlds at once, elevated in the spirit, but earthbound in your expression? Chosen one, you're living in the gap, the sacred space between coronation and calling, between recognition and revelation. It's like being crowned in heaven while still cloaked on earth. You feel it, don't you? The way conversations pause when you enter a room, how strangers sense something different about you, the way your presence carries weight you didn't ask for. People notice your aura before they hear your words. They feel your authority before you open your mouth. But here's the tension that's eating at your soul. They notice your presence, but not your purpose. You're like a symphony that's been written but not yet performed. A masterpiece hanging in heaven's gallery while earth still sees the canvas covered. You carry the frequency of kings, but you're still learning the language of the kingdom. Beloved, as we reach the end of this divine encounter, I want you to hold on to 3 unshakable truths that heaven has whispered over your life today. First, your seasons of hiddenness were not punishment, they were preparation. Every moment you felt forgotten, God was forming something magnificent within you. Every tear you cried in secret became a seed of testimony. Every night you wondered if anyone saw you, heaven was taking notes, preparing your promotion. Second, Your elevation is not dependent on human recognition or worldly timing. When God decides to move, He moves with authority that cannot be questioned, delayed, or denied. Your breakthrough doesn't need anyone's permission. It only needs your surrender. And third, what's coming for you is not just personal vindication, it's divine demonstration. Your story is about to become proof that God still moves, still heals, still elevates the humble, and still confounds the wise with His perfect timing. You are not walking this journey alone. Behind this message stands a community of believers who understand your struggle because they've walked similar paths. We've felt the weight of being overlooked, the pain of delayed promises, the frustration of divine timing that doesn't match our human schedule. But we've also witnessed the beautiful truth that God's delays are not denials, they're divine orchestrations. This community is praying for you. Even now, as you hear these words, hearts around the world are lifting your situation to the Father. You are covered, supported, and held up by more prayers than you could ever count. Let me ask you something, and I want you to really sit with this question. What if every struggle you've endured, every setback you've survived, every moment you felt like giving up, what if all of it was God's way of preparing you for an elevation so profound that when it comes, no one will be able to deny that heaven moved on your behalf? Think about that. Let it sink deep into your spirit. Now, let me pray over you. If you're willing, place your hand over your heart, close your eyes, and receive these words, not just as human encouragement, but as a divine declaration over your life. Father God, I stand with this precious soul today, and I ask you to place your hand of blessing upon them. You see them right now, not just where they are, but where you're taking them. You see their tears, their struggles, their questions in the midnight hour, and I thank you that every tear has been collected, every prayer has been heard, every whisper of their heart has reached your throne. Lord, I speak breakthrough over their finances. I speak healing over their body. I speak restoration over their relationships. I speak clarity over their calling. Where the enemy has whispered never, you are declaring now. Where circumstances have said impossible, you are saying, watch me work. Remove every spirit of delay, discouragement, and despair. Replace fear with faith, anxiety with anticipation, and doubt with divine confidence. Let them feel your presence in this very moment, not as a distant hope, but as a present reality. Father, prepare their heart for what you're about to do. Give them strength to carry the blessing, wisdom to handle the promotion, and humility to give you all the glory. Let their elevation serve as a beacon of hope to others who are still waiting in their seasons of hiddenness. And when their moment comes, and it is coming, let it be so undeniably divine that no one can attribute it to luck, chance, or human effort. Let their breakthrough become a testimony that causes others to seek you, to believe you, to trust you. We thank you in advance for what you're about to do. We praise you for divine timing that's always perfect, even when it doesn't feel punctual. We worship you for being the God who elevates the humble and gives grace to the overlooked. In the mighty name of Jesus, the one who was also hidden for 30 years before his public ministry, we pray. Amen. If this message spoke to your heart, I want to encourage you to share it. There's someone in your circle, a family member, a friend, a co-worker, who needs to hear that their season of waiting is about to end. Don't keep this hope to yourself. Share it freely, because hope multiplies when it's divided. Leave a comment below and let us know what spoke to your spirit. Share your testimony if God has already moved in your life, or share your prayer request if you're still believing for your breakthrough. This community will stand with you in faith. We believe in the power of agreement, and when we pray together, heaven pays attention. I want to thank you for staying with me through this entire message. In a world of distractions and quick fixes, you chose to invest this time in your spiritual growth. That tells me something about the quality of your heart. You're not looking for entertainment, you're seeking transformation. Remember, beloved, your best days are not behind you, they're ahead of you. Your greatest victories are not in your past, they're in your future. And your most powerful testimony is not what you've survived, it's what you're about to step into. God has saved the spotlight for you. Step into it with confidence, knowing that heaven has been preparing this moment since before you were born. You are loved, you are chosen, you are ready, and your time is now.